So thanks for being here. I appreciate you hopping on and offering an hour or so of your time. I'll end a little bit before the hour, and then that'll offer time for questions or just, if you have something that you'd like to share, feel free. Just catch me in that break and share, or you're welcome to share at the end. So this talk is how to understand or take a different view and look at your health through your hands and your eyes. So I did a talk recently on the feet and kind of showed a little diagram and discussed like the different parts of the foot and how the feet are related to different major organs and parts of our bodies. And so there's no difference with the hands, and then some say even with the eyes. And so there's a saying, the eyes are the seat of our soul, or, connect, and you can see someone's soul through the eyes. It can tell so much. And so that can also be through, learning, what tools and graphs or, assistance that you can find to like kind of discover like what parts of your eye are connected also to different systems in the body. So this is more of like an awareness workshop, and it's pretty casual. So that's why I said, if you have something that you'd like to share, feel free, you can put it in the chat or whatnot. Just kind of a different view of things with yoga and mindfulness. We talk about a lot of the physical asanas, or we do physical practices. Then we have our meditation. And if you're looking at it, especially from an Eastern style or the Eastern history of yoga and mindfulness, yoga can just be one little part of this whole grand scheme of things and this whole lifestyle that the Eastern yoga had and still has today in some parts of the world. And so there's other, herbs and medicines and detoxes and different kind of views that they have about the body and how it's connected, and different ways to welcome it to wellness and to keep it healthy and strong. So this is where today's topic and that topic on the feet kind of comes from, and connected to so many other parts of different holistic medicines and ancients too. So for health through hands and eyes. So for the hands, we're going to look at reflexology. The feet kind of did this. I discussed like the points of the foot and what you can do to like strengthen and balance your feet, but I didn't get so much into like the meridians and the pressure points. So I'll mention a little bit more about that with the hand. And then with the eyes, it's iridology. So for me, it's like a tongue twister. So feel free, if you're on mute, to take a minute to say that word. Iridology discusses the eyes. So especially looking at like the retinas, like where the color is in the eyes. And the hands are reflexology. So the hands, reflexology, and the eyes, iridology. So feel free to make a tongue twister out of that if you like. And before I jump too far into the information, just to help kind of settle, I guess, all of us into this present space, present moment that we find ourselves. Depending on where your day has led you. I know that, Mary, like you mentioned, you worked. For me, I just was having quite a bit of travel today. I'm driving. So for me, like all of these things that we're discussing, I feel like I could use them so much right now. But what we'll do is, if you'd like, just take a minute, and if you feel comfortable in your space, go ahead and either just allow your gaze to soften, or take a moment to just gently close your eyes. And whether, if you're seated and watching this, or maybe you're like doing some tasks, if you're doing some tasks, maybe just take a moment to find just a place to stand in stillness. And then just at your own pace, at your own time, go ahead and just welcome a big, long, deep, slow breath into your nose on your next inhale that you have. Hold that inhale for just a moment, and then when you're ready, go ahead and release and exhale through the mouth, and just let everything go and help to welcome yourself to this present space where you find yourself, to this moment. Allow just a moment to really welcome yourself into awareness. Deep breath, if you need another one, just allows your body and systems to calm. Especially after a day of movements and such, it's nice to just take nice deep breaths in and out. So if you need another one, feel free to do that. Otherwise, you can always just shake kind of everything out. If you're doing tasks and just listening, I thank you for being here, and just, shake anything out and you can get back to your tasks. Or if you'd like to take notes or whatnot, if you're sitting, but it's no matter where you are, it's still, if you're in the States, it's getting to that evening or nighttime. So it just can be nice to just take a breath. All right, so I saw someone else joined, so thank you for joining, Wendy. So we were just talking about today, we were focusing on how to understand or discover your health through your hands, reflexology, and your eyes, iridology. So that's reflexology and iridology. If you did miss the talk that I did recently on feet, that talks a little bit kind of like reflexology, just some of the points on the feet and how that's connected to your health and parts of your body, then you're welcome to find that talk on the on-demand on my YouTube, and I may have dropped it in a meetup, but you can find it on the YouTube channel too. So this is kind of just like a second piece to that. So I'm going to start with reflexology, and I mentioned the feet videos because you can do reflexology on different parts of the body. So it can be done on the inside of the hands, in the palm and in the fingers. It can be done on the outside of the hands. It can be done on the feet, on the tops of the feet, and it can be done on the bottoms of the feet. It can be done, there's points on the head. There's points like on the neck, and we talk about our temples. So there's just different points and ways that you can perform reflexology. And there's also some other forms of holistic wellness that focus around the head also that can happen. So if you have questions about that, let me know at the end. And maybe we'll just talk about that too later. But for reflexology today, for discussion and kind of just that focus on the hands, reflexology is a form of massage therapy, and it focuses on pressure points on hands, feet, and or head. It can kind of help with a few different ailments. And so it can help with ailments that maybe you or someone that you know or just a person has. So if one is dealing with any sort of like pain, insomnia, anxiety, depression, so reflexology can help to ease these symptoms that come along with these things. It can help to find release, and it can do it from almost this kind of mixture of a physical standpoint and like a holistic mental spiritual standpoint. And I'll get into that a little bit. And so these are just some pictures, as I mentioned. So the reflexology on the hand has one person, and the first picture, as if someone else, you can go to a reflexologist and a practitioner, and they can perform reflexology on you. So they're kind of finding some pressure points on the tops of the hands there in that picture. And the second picture, someone's performing it on themselves. So today there are lots of videos, lots of tools and resources that you can find online and in the stores. Or you can go, if you go to massage therapy school or even in Thai massage, and it'll talk about those pressure points and things that you can do on yourself too, to ease pain, ease stress, and ease ailments. So pressure points. So what are these pressure points? So these points are pressure points on the hands, and they basically are points that map onto other parts of the body, which just means like you'll have a certain pressure point, and it will connect to something else in the body, another part, another system. So an organ, or just a different placement in the system, part of the head or the jaw or the, your knee or your thighs. And then there are also like energy meridians. So these lines along the index fingers, that's an example that can be stimulated in order to aid in the function of, like, say, the abdomen to assist with cramping. So this is just an example. So energy meridians and pressure points are the same thing. So a pressure point is more of a physical way to look at points on the hands and that connection to a different place in the body. And then energy meridians along, like, say, the index finger that it talks about here, that can be stimulated in order to help in the function of the abdomen. For instance, it's just saying that, this is also something that can be known as energetic. We are all energy. Everything has different energy. There's kinetic energy, there's still energy. There's all these things all made up of energy. And in wellness, we talk about prana, energy, life force. And so our bodies have that, our organs have that, food is energy. And so that energy sometimes can, from an energetic standpoint, can get, stuck or caught. So as I mentioned, like, say there's some cramping there and you're not really sure why, but you can connect with the energy meridians or the pressure points in your index finger to stimulate and help to release or calm and just balance these energies. And that finger and those meridians are connected to the abdomen, and that will then help and assist with the cramping in your body. So that's just an example. And so this, I really wanted to take some time to show. I'm going to leave this on the screen. And so feel free to take your time, really glance at this. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to be kind of more of a casual talk, and just kind of giving you a second to look at the graphs so you can really see and connect first to the picture if you'd like. So if you notice in this graph, this would be from the top view. So because if you notice, the thumbs are in the middle of the graph and then the pinkies are on the outside. So this is a hand reflexology map from Everyday Health. So Everyday Health, if you go to everydayhealth.com, you can find this map. You can also find some other information. You can even go into like a Google or Yahoo search and type everydayhealth.com reflexology. This in an article will come up, and it will give you kind of some of the same information that you'll gain from this workshop, and then also some details about, the benefits and different things with reflexology. So here, as you see, the colors are just kind of for show here, so we have the tops of our fingers, each one, and then you have where that yellow is, each one, and then you have where that blue is. And you see that down the center, it shows what it's connected to. So at the top of each of the 4 fingers and the thumb, that's connected to your head and your brain. And then we have that yellow. So that's just underneath that top section of the finger. That's your teeth, your sinuses. And so I have a lot of experience with this, and our genetics in my family, it doesn't matter how much we brush or floss or whatnot. We do have quite a bit work that just seems like it's a thing in our family. We get a lot of work done in our mouths. And so for me, like reflexology, that's one of the points that I like to work with, of offering release when I've had to in the past, to help with the teeth. And really all it is when they talk about that, it goes back to those pressure points. You would just allow your opposite hand to put pressure on those parts of your fingers. And you sit and you breathe. It's almost like you can just feel that connection, after a minute or so, really connecting to that space. So, and the teeth and the sinuses they have together, because a lot of the time when people have different things going on with the teeth, it can be related into the sinuses. Sometimes some of that bone or the infections can go up into the sinuses, or sometimes you get drainage from the sinuses that go down into, the gums or into where the teeth are underneath that bone. And so that's why they're connected in reflexology and can bring some relief to both those zones or areas. And then we have underneath that in the blue, that's connected to the neck. And then underneath in that first layer of the red, that's connected to our eyes. And then the yellow, esophagus. And then it kind of starts to break apart where the four fingers kind of do their own thing, and the thumb then gets into other organs in different parts of the body, the pituitary gland, the thyroid, cervical spine. And you can take your time and read and kind of see those other spaces that it's related to: your diaphragm, your gallbladder, your kidney, your hips, your colon, your heart. So right almost near that center. And what I do find interesting is in the hand reflexology map, how they're showing these physical connections from the hand and, you know, what it's related to physically in the body. But then also, they also still have right in the center, they have the solar plexus. Now, if you're someone who's ever gotten like a tarot reading or had some sort of like your lines kind of looked at, it can be interesting because, you know, we have our money line, our lifeline, our love line, you know, and it'll say like how many, you know, partners you'll have or how many loves you'll have or what your lives are. So it's interesting that that comes with the solar plexus, because our solar plexus is an energetics. Again, it's a chakra point. And in the solar plexus, that is where, you know, the heat comes from. We're talking about heat and energy. That's where, you know, our confidence, our build, where our truths come from. And so it can be important to want to connect to that space, connect to your truth, your confidence, your life, and really, you know, feel and find that empowering moment and space there. So I find that interesting that with all that other physical, they have that solar plexus. Because when you work too in yoga or in wellness, and where that solar plexus is, we do a lot of detox for that area and from the body when we're doing twists and turns and stretching and breathing. You know, our breath comes through and, you know, we fill up the diaphragm and we fill up the belly and then we exhale, all that detoxing, what needs to release energetically and physically from the body. So I just thought that was interesting that they have the solar plexus on there. But basically with this, so in different ways to examine or understand your health from a couple of different sides is, now reflexology can be used as something as preventative maintenance. So, you know, say you just know like you're working a lot, or say, you know, you have the point for the arms and the shoulders. So your arms and shoulders is just kind of that zone, kind of at a curve, just right past and in between the ring and the pinky, and then it kind of drifts off. So if you do a lot of work and you're working with your arms and your shoulders, when you go to a reflexologist, or if you're working on yourself, you might want to take some time to focus on just, you know, putting pressure on that point, or just massaging that point of the hand to help, because that point is going to connect to your arm and shoulders and can help ease and allow some release there, physically and energetically, release tension, release stress from the arms and shoulders. If you are someone who holds a lot of stress there, or if you're like a reverse breather where we tend to breathe upward instead of down into the diaphragm and belly, you know, that's tension in shoulders. So you might go to reflexology and they might want to focus on the pressure point or using tools in that space to help, once again, relieve ease and tension, help you sleep better. And also, so if you're looking at it from, you already have something going on with your body in that area, like because you're holding stress, one, a reflexologist might be able to tell that you hold a lot of stress, or that you work that area of the body, those muscles in the arms and shoulders a lot, in detection of maybe, you know, there's a knot there in that part of the hand, or maybe, you know, it feels really tough and they're, you know, they're really trying to get it. Or from an energetic standpoint, they might read like, wow, that energetically is a little off balance. Like, let me focus, let me work on this to help get that blockage out. and to find release and help you get release and ease energetically in that zone. So it's kind of like a two nice-sided coin. It can help with preventative maintenance, and then it can also help relieve and ease ailments and stuff. So if you have tense shoulders and arms and all that. And then once again, going into just those readings, this would be something else, but if someone can read your lines and you have, a lot going on in the arms and shoulders, they can read those lines in your hands and be able to tell you what's going on there. Or they might even be able to see, or reflexologists might even be able to see, through certain lines or certain redness or calluses and things going on in your hand. Or if you have, some kind of arthritis or pain in your hand, they might be like, well, you have, or I'm sorry, in your shoulders, they might be able to tell that through the hand, because they'll be able to feel it and identify it, or, you have something going on here, or, that looks a little rough or a little red, or your hand runs a certain degree or that. So there's a lot that can go into this, and it can be beneficial from both sides, whether you're using it preventative maintenance or you're using it as, something that can be helpful. So, and you can do it from both sides, because I'm going to show you on this next graph. So even though the thumbs, that's showing, you're looking at the outside of your hand. So I apologize. You'd be out here massaging or the inside. But if you look inwards, the inside of the graph, so if you have your thumbs on the inside and then you flip them, and now you have your pinkies on the inside and your thumbs on the outside. So you're going to see that a lot of this stuff still connects to the same areas. So it shows right here on the tops of the thumbs, connecting to the brain. Then we talk about the nose, the sinuses on the inside. Notice on the outside, that same zone was connected to the teeth and sinuses. And on the inside, it mentions that again, connected to the sinuses. And then we have that same thing. You have the inside connected to the different parts of the body. And this was a little bit more detail in the name. So it also talks about the intestine. So there again, it talks about that solar plexus. So both sides again. So it talks about the innards and the outwards. And typically, like I know when I've gone to a reflexologist, they do tend to, they're holding both sides, or they're massaging inside, but then they massage the outside, or use certain tools, balancing out always. So if we're doing one thing on one side, we want to make sure we get the other side. And so if you would like, you can take a moment to just kind of take your hands maybe up to the screen. This time your palms are faced in instead of out. And you can see, what is connected to what. What's going on here? Is there something going on that you have in your body or your systems that you look, and then you look at that part of your hand, and just kind of identify that. And if you do, then like how it shows like the eyes. So if you have something going on with the eyes, it's at the lower part of the fingers that's connected to your eyes. You could go ahead and, just apply some pressure there. You can even close your eyes. Just take a moment, take a few breaths. And then when you feel ready to switch to the next finger, it's that same zone, it's the eyes. Just put a little pressure there and breathe. And of course, when you're ready, maybe go to the next finger. Or if you want a little more movement, you could always massage and then go to the next finger of what that would be. So I'm doing like the same, that zone of the eyes. Then I feel ready, I go to the next finger. And for me, I feel little crinkles. I can feel little kind of tendons, little cracks in there in my fingers. And it's wild because so today I did a lot of driving. And so it was like 6 hours of just my eyes open on the road. And so those little crinkles, those little tightness, maybe it could also be from having my hands on the steering wheel, but definitely can help relieve some pressure and tension that I may have gotten from driving also all day. So it's really nice to be able to take your hands and just kind of view. And if you have a certain thing, just kind of take a moment to enjoy that. And what is nice about this particular map is this one, as it mentions, it has the chakra colors. So once again, it's talking about the solar plexus. The solar plexus is down in our center. So it's what connects, our top chakras and our lower chakras. So from the top, we have, if we're looking at it, we have our crown chakra up top that connects us to the outward to the universe. Then we have our third eye. When that opens, also connecting with that crown, that enlightenment, that third eye opens, it helps to give like our intuition. And then we have going down into our throat, our communication channels and chakras. That's the three, our crown, our third eye, our throat chakra. And then it goes down into our heart chakra and our solar plexus and our sacral and our root. And those are typically like the main like 7 that people tend to talk about a lot. And we talk about in wellness. But there is also another underneath the root that people don't talk about. And there's also another over the crown. And because there's more than 7 chakras. Those are just like kind of the main same ones. But the solar plexus and the heart, kind of those two that kind of intertwine and kind of welcome our, lower chakras connect us and ground us here to the earth. Our higher chakras connect us to our energetics, our higher selves. And so you can see that in this reflexology chart, even through that, our fingertips connecting to those higher chakras and the solar plexus in its center, and below those colors connecting to our lower chakras. So the bottoms of our hands grounding us in, kind of dealing with that indigestion, our release, our physical body. Then we get to our eyes and our head, and all that's kind of more of an energetic space. So, which, sometimes I think that happens with like, we talk about our pineal glands and, how do we get headaches and why? And there can be spiritual reason or tension, but it's kind of this interesting pain that can almost be a little bit different than pain that we feel in our lower areas. So as I mentioned too in the beginning, this is more of like an awareness workshop. So it's just kind of giving an idea to those tools and things and how it's connected with this reflexology with the hands. And, now you see these maps, you can see what parts the hands are related to from the inside of the palm and the outside, which are pretty much both kind of can be related on the same side. And so you can work with it and kind of just work with those pressure points. And then I can also, if you Google hand reflexology charts, you can find charts like these. If you would like these charts that I'm showing, let me know. I can also drop them in the meetup group and or in an email, depending on how you registered for this event. Just let me know. If I have them, I can drop them from the chat too, and you can download them. But that just kind of gives an idea of the hand reflexology, and it's another way to look at how you can discover more about your health, because as I mentioned, it can be preventative maintenance, but it can also help to identify things if you're going to reflexologists, like what's going on, if you have tension and tightness somewhere in the hand, if you have swelling or inflammation somewhere in the hand, and you see what that's related to. That might be a physical signal of saying, hey, let's work on your digestion. You get tension headaches. Let's work on your upper chakra area and your upper finger meridians, applying some pressure and massage to those points in the hand to find release and relief. And it can also help you to say you're feeling something and it feels kind of off, or as I mentioned, like the tension and things in the shoulders and arms, you might start to go see a massage therapist. You might start to go see a, physical therapist, or doing your own massage or doing your own heating pads, and notice that, maybe different little tendons and crinkles in the hands or little arthritis and things kind of change or release after you start caring for your arms and shoulders, and or as you're doing reflexology in the hands, that can help bring ease and release in the shoulders and arms too. So it's kind of like a double-sided thing here. You're working the hands in those certain areas, and it can help find release in those parts of the body. But then it can also, since you're identifying things going on with that certain parts of the body, if you have something going on already, then you can learn to like take care of those parts of your body, and then also find release and relief in the hand itself from that. So it helps because it can help you to recognize the unexplainable or ailments that go beyond traditional signs. Examples of ache, stiffness, headaches, and stomach ache. So kind of like as I just explained. And then I do have some helpful tools. So I will drop this also in the chat. So this is a list of some items that I have either purchased myself or something like them and have used in my own practice. And so, or this just gives you an idea of tools and things that are out there. So this is a map that you can find. And this is just kind of a reflexology map. It has the hands at the top and the feet, and it also gives the points. And it looks like the chakra colors are on that one also. They also make gloves. So if you're unsure of how to keep up with all the different pieces and parts that your body are related to with reflexology or as you're learning, you could wear the gloves and then still apply that pressure, to the different parts on the hand and or on the feet with either your hands or one of the tools to help find some ease, some of the relief, find ease and relief through some of the ailments. Excuse me, it's been a long day. And there's also then all these sorts of different like massage tools. So instead of if you get tired or your hands are dealing with arthritis in one and then you're also trying to use it for reflexology, there's lots of different tools that can be used instead. And they just have all these different points. And really, they're just different sides and edges depending on how you want to work with it. If you notice, like this one for the foot down here in the red, it has that round kind of thicker end. Then it has that little less, kind of pointy end. And so you're just using it for pressure point. You would just use literally and just kind of have that little point press into the area, into your hand or foot. Now, if that might be too much pressure, a little more intense because it's thinner, then you might use that thicker end, and or you might use something like up in the top corner, this kind of teal colored or kind of thumb saver, where it's literally like kind of just looks like your thumb. And so you would use that, and that's kind of a more, rubbing, a more massage type tool to use, and it's not just kind of being poking into your skin in case, it's a little too much pressure. Okay, thanks, Wendy. Yeah, let me, I can drop this link in the chat if you just want to kind of take a view at some of this stuff. There you go. And then the next one we're going to jump into, oh yeah, things to keep in mind. After performing reflexology on yourself or getting it done by a practitioner, reflexologist, you may or may not. You may feel bursts of energy or fatigue. You may have to use the restroom to detox. You may be encouraged by a reflexologist and or you may just want to consume additional water, like you may feel a little bit more thirsty after. You may have changes in your appetite. These things will subside. So this is something that can happen. It's the same like if you're feeling sick. It's the same when you do yoga. When I teach restorative yoga, which is about like relaxation and twist and a lot in the lower body. We do a lot of I like to say you might have to detox after because it just allows the body to release and let go. And, if you're doing sun salutation in yoga, that's about energizing. But if you're doing a moon salutation or restorative class, it's about relaxing. So doing something like this, like I said, it's more than physical. It can be energetic. And so it can kind of change what's going on in your systems for a bit, but things do balance out, and it's that awareness and care for yourself that these things will subside. So if you're feeling like, oh, I feel too thirsty, or why do I feel so tired after, I don't like that, you could just adjust your schedule to the times you're doing it. You could work with the times, you want to give yourself maybe some time in between having food and doing this, or certain workouts and doing this and things. But just being aware, of your body. All right, so the next one is Iridology. So I'll give you a moment if you'd like to say that to yourself. I don't think it's a tongue twister. Iridology. It is the practice where one looks, or you could view it for yourself, at one person's eyes and uses what they see to determine any physical ailments that may be present in the body, specifically the iris or the retinas, so the color parts of the eyes, and they'll look for abnormalities in pigmentation. Now this is something where, I like to say it doesn't have to be limited to the iris. It doesn't have to be limited to the retina. It can be also, abnormalities and different things that can be viewed also in the whites of your eyes. Now, there can be a lot, like if someone drinks or if someone smokes. Like I know, I was in college and I've had my champagne. And so when I do, if I have that, you can tell in the eyes, the veins kind of start to come out, or even through the face can get flushed red, right? So it's something that's coming in. I mean, these things are in ancients, ancients use them. So depending, on people's whatnots, some people would say it's because it's something that's not typically in the body, and some people say it's like it can be a toxin in the body. So the natural body wants to release it, but it's showing those signs of like that change in the body. So but specifically the iridology, they do tend to look for those abnormalities and the abnormal, I can't speak, just the differences in the pigmentation in eyes, but it is not limited to, because in some vision, they are going to look at the whites. They're going to notice things in there also, but it can help find oddities, ailments, and even to find disease. And it's another holistic practice. Now, this one is a bit also kind of an intense chart. So the eyes, they, like I said, the seat of the soul, they are connected and can show a lot. This is from a physical standpoint. Once again, though, there can be energetics. There can be your chakra points connected to parts of the eyes. Our emotions can show through the eyes. If you look at pictures of shock or of happiness, your eyes kind of get that little clear. Sadness, once again, the whites go red. The eyes, they get glossy. The veins come out, when we're upset or if you're angry, then it just shows. The eyes can show so much on, emotional, energetic, physical level. So there can be a lot that goes into the eye chart. So I wouldn't expect anyone to like kind of recognize this and memorize it in one day. And the iridology chart, I would say it's a definite good work to memorize or kind of write, or not memorize, to write down the word iridology. I remember when I first saw this eye chart, I was in a holistic store. I could not remember the name for the life of me for the longest time. And it took me forever to finally search through Google and to come across it, because I just thought it was amazing to see so much of what the eyes are connected to. Yeah, I will send out the recording tonight. So you'll see that I'll send out also. So yeah, thank you so much for popping in, Wendy. Appreciate it. Have a great night. And especially for this one, this is a great one to look at. So if I'm seeing up the video, you could just, pause it also and take a look at the graph. But as you see from the different parts of the eyes, and this one might be a bit more harder to view, like from just a first look, but you're going to see that it has the right eye over, and then it has the left eye mentioned, and pretty much, they do kind of mimic each other. So you have the inside sides of the color pigmentation in the eyes and what parts of it they're related to in your body. And then on the outside, like you notice both eyes have the ears and the shoulder and the pancreas and the lungs, and it kind of goes down, but then there are some differences. So at the bottom, you'll notice the left eye, it has the spleen. So the right eye doesn't have the spleen, but they both have the hip joint, and they both have, our sex organs and the rectum and the pelvis. And so there's certain little small changes. But this is one where like it can be so beneficial, even if you go to your eye doctor, or you can go to a specific iridologist and have them, they will do a whole view of the eyes and give you the whole chart and all the different what's going on with your eyes and body. But this is a great like way to start if you want to like take some time after, or you have a chart like this and you put it up and you just stare your eyes. Make sure you know which eye is in that chart. I tend to find a lot of left eye charts, maybe because it has the spleen more so than the right. So I like to have both though, and really take time to just offer yourself a moment to look and see, is there anything going on in the upper area? Do you have headaches? Is there anything going on with the stomach area? You see closer to the retina that it has the stomach up top and kind of more so with the intestine. Do you notice, do you have constipation, or do you tend to have bouts of diarrhea or IBS? You can see these things in the eyes. And of course, the more things get more intense, the more they can come out. Now, some of it, this is when it can be nice to go to an eye doctor or an iridologist, because they can use and see behind the eyes. They can get in there behind their eyes. They can really go deep with all their little tools and resources and all their little scopes and see what's really going on that maybe we can't really spot on, or we kind of can see something happening, but not 100%. So that's when it can be kind of beneficial if you're that curious, to see. And this can, once again, it can help as preventative maintenance. They can say, oh, you have this going on in the eyes. You might want to check this out, or be cautious, or add this to your diet, or take this medicine that can help with that. Or they might see something and go, oh, well, you complained when you came in that you have something going on, or you just had something with your thyroid. And I noticed that in your eyes, such and such and such. So they can see certain things in that part of the eye and kind of make those connections. So I have a few different charts for this one. So this is more so the chart that I first came across, and it had, see, as it says, this is the left eye, and I find a lot of left eye. I'm just going to assume because it has that spleen. But in the chart that I saw first was like this, where it had the left eye up top, and then it had the right eye, I believe it was on the other side of the sheet, because it was full. It was packed of just so much information, so much of discussing the organs and how it goes into okay, if it's related to your stomach, and then how it pulls this little side chart over here, what's going on and what's surrounding the stomach, and what's going on with the colon, and it talks about the nerves and the rings legend of the eyes and the pupil and the retina. These charts with the eyes can get just so detailed. I can't, I think it blows my mind. So it's crazy to share. And then it also talks about, the mental body, the physical body, the neck, the lungs, the abdomen, the pelvis, and it goes into the throat and the face. And it can be so interesting. It talks about, the physical and mental of it, and your hair, your scalp, your all that, mucus lining, just so detailed of what they can pull from these, charts and things, and from the eyes, and what you can discover about yourself. It can also help, which I guess I'm jumping a little bit, with some genetic, diagnoses or things that run in the family possibly too. So I think it's in different markings. So this is just an idea of the different types of graphs that are out there. So this one's really detailed. And then here's the chart. So this is something that you might see if you actually go to the office. This is from iriscope.org or iriscope.org. So you can find this online, and it shows the normal and then an abnormal, or just kind of what some abnormalities in the eye. And this chart talks about, the perfect or normal, iris having, without glaucoma, without spots, cracks, without birth genetics, without all these different things that can be happening. Nothing going on with missing fiber or low fiber. That's something as we get to adults, people talk about we need to have more fiber. And so then it goes into iris for periods. So it talks about the surfaces. It's nice to that surface, that white, or that gold, yellow. So talk about, showing inflammation and parts of brown and different inflammation or chronic. And then it talks about the 7 rings. So that goes into those linings. Once again, that's that energetic along with also the physical. So I can talk about our lymph systems, our nervous systems, which can go into energetics, our skin, our metabolism, our organs. And then it talks about different symptoms. And you can see this gives examples of, the different things that you can find and what they're identified here on this one side, the line, the color change, the density. And on the other side with the severing and different ways to look at the eyes, it talks about what it's related to, the inner of the stomach, the colon, the nervous, the organs, the lymph system, the skin and metabolism. So this is just an idea. So this is like tip of the iceberg of how you can really start to learn and dive in and discover, your eye health, your systems in your body, more about your nervous system, more about your stomach, more about your inners, your outers, and just get a whole lesson in about yourself, health-wise. And I mean, you could study this for just days, weeks, months. So if you took that or you want to write that down, go ahead. iriscope.org is where you can find this chart. And then how does this help? So iridology is a non-invasive way to examine the body to determine severity of genetic weaknesses or to just identify genetic disorders, possibly. Help with preventative maintenance. Once again, you might be full on healthy, but you're like, well, let's take a look. What's going on there? What might, I might need to pay attention to. It may give diagnosis of an issue early on. It may also help with, if you're diagnosing different injuries, it can help you let you know where there's inflammation in the body and or accumulation of toxins, which for something like that with toxins, it might, on the light side, it might just be, hey, get a little exercise in, that'll help detox the body, drink water, that'll help detox the body. If it's something more extreme, it might be, hey, what's going on now? I want to check like your liver and kidneys, which they can do through that. And helpful tools once again. Is that one? Oh no. That one should have gone. Shoot, it doesn't grab that one. Let me exit that then really quick because I would like to show you the tools with that one, because there's online, of course, there are some different tools that can go with that. It always drops on this little screen. So I'll just put that there. And I want to drop this in once again. So for the iridology tools, actually, I'll take this link. And so they have like different charts that you can find. And see, this one has both eyes, left and right. I don't know why they always want to show it. Oh, beautiful, you can put on your wall. But there's different kinds. So you can also find textbooks, and it'll go into the color, the light. You can hit back with those energetics on the chakras. You could just find that core curriculum, just stick to that physical, how to read the eye, how to get it right, how to understand it, what part is connected to what. There's a more simplistic, just one eye chart. And then I always like finding some different types of vitamins that can be related to vision. This is one from, I remember Akivite. That's from like when I would hear like very popular in the 90s. And so a lot of people in my family would take that. But there's just a lot of things you can do for the vision, like I said, because it can help you to identify early on and have preventative maintenance and maybe get you on a regimen that can help protect your eyes. Or if you notice, oh, in the family we get glaucoma, or eyes, we need reading glasses at such and such. So there's preventative ways to help with that. Or if something else is going on, then there's other things that you might want to take for that. But that would be, discussed with, your eye doctor or your iridologist to, who's going to help kind of get you set up with that. And so things to keep in mind with these, especially looking into the vision of the eyes and or even with the reflexology with the hand. Definitely, get yourself in a place if you have something going on and you're kind of just worried, or you're WebMDing it and you're just like, okay, let me use these new tools to kind of see what's going on and can help. Just take a moment to breathe, of course, and calm down, because the internet itself can also be so like overwhelming because we do have access to so much information. And so something, especially like the iridology, be very overwhelming sometimes, looking at the eyes for the charts and kind of, oh my gosh, what if I have this in my eye, or what if I have that, especially because sometimes, especially if you're dealing with like tension, or like me, where you're just like, if you had a, not like me, where like, oh, if you've had a drink, but then if you're like me, where you were driving a lot, not drinking and driving, but just driving a long day, like these types of things are going to cause your eyes to maybe show up a bit differently than when you're just well rested. So what I mean by that is, if you've had a drink, or if you're a smoker, or if you had a long day of driving, or just your eyes are staring at a computer for a very long time, it kind of strains them. So you may want to do this, when you're looking at the eyes and you're taking in and kind of looking and seeing, when you feel like, maybe at the beginning of the day, after you've waken up, you've done your morning routine, you're feeling just more like, okay, it's clarity, clarity for the eyes, clarity, you're feeling good. And then you can kind of take a view, and take time to, give yourself time to learn and learn how to evaluate, learn how to identify what part is in what, because, the chart can show a lot, and to be able to break that down in the eyes can be quite a bit. So just taking your time and offering yourself some love there. And then if it really interests you, or you kind of, you're feeling good and you're looking at the eyes and there's something going on, or you have this tension that's not going away, or you have these veins, or you have, little lines or something that you're kind of interested in, learning a bit more, why not? Then you can make an appointment with an eye doctor. I know if you're someone and you're lucky and you have insurance, and, you can, take your route as you will. If not, also, typically to go and get different things with the eyes, can be, depending on just, however you see best and fit to take care of that. And now typically though, with the iridologist, that might vary if that's covered under your insurance or not, because it is technically listed under holistic medicine or Eastern medicine. So you could give or take that, but those are services that you might be able to find, locally at, your local massage parlor. You might be able to find that at, like I said, your eye doctor may do it. You may also then find it at a holistic center. And sometimes at holistic centers, they offer different workshops, different programs, different pricing. I have seen these types of appointments down from, a $50 workshop or a $50 look to, 200 and something. So it really can depend on, where you're looking at and all that too. And then just taking that time to breathe and not get too lost in it before you really learn to evaluate and see what's going on, with the eyes. And the same for the reflexology. My very first reflexology appointment I ever went to, I got a coupon on Groupon. So that can be all over the place. It just depends on what you're looking for and what it will include. Some reflexology appointments will include the hands and the feet. Some will include the head. Some will only include the hand. Some will include also a massage, of like a deep pressure massage too, along with that, or they'll include Reiki, or they'll include a foot bath or a foot kind of herbal detox. So it just depends on how far you want to take, these modalities and these different holistic practices, to learn more about them, or to learn more about yourself. So. All right, so most of you probably already have this information. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. And I